God, I am so angry at I don't know everything right now. And this feels so fucked up, I don't even want to talk to my BFF about this right now. It hurts too much, ATM. My husband just told me he is leaving me, and I can't believe the reason. I need to give some background. I am 34F, and my husband is 38M. We've been married for almost 2 years. I've dated 2 years before that. So overall, a bit more than 4 years. He's always been very insecure about himself. Even though he has a great personality, or so I thought, is generous, caring, can express his emotions and all this stuff. When I got to know him better, I couldn't believe he wasn't taken. Fact, he had only been in 2 relationships in his life, both 5 years long though. He told me that's because he's shy and ugly and women don't really want anything from him, like ever, especially not good-looking ones. I am fairly conventionally attractive, and he has kept telling me for the past years how lucky feels to finally have found his dream woman and then her being as attractive as me. I was wary at the beginning though, so I let him court me quite a bit before going out with him for the first time, etc. I really was fearing for some dark secret of his that I just hadn't uncovered yet. Plus, I don't want to look easy. But turns out, no, he's a really sweet guy and just very shy. I also don't think he's ugly. He's not in any way super handsome or so, and frankly, originally, I thought he was not my type. But his charm melted all of that away quickly. Once we starting thoroughly dating, things went fast because it all was so wonderful. Well, apparently a while ago, he was on his own in the outside area of a restaurant having lunch when this woman went by, and apparently struck up a conversation with him. He's shown me a picture of her since I asked him, and she is drop-dead gorgeous. Maybe I am exaggerating because I am so mad, but she definitely looks better than me. I have to admit, sad face, he didn't tell me much about what they talked, just that. She was very friendly, and they exchanged numbers and started texting more and more often. He says she at some point openly started pursuing him even though she knew he was married, saying she just really fell for him and can't let this opportunity pass. He said that he was hesitant once he realized that she was hitting on him, and he was also excited because this literally has never happened in his life. In the past, he repeatedly said that women, at least attractive ones like me, have it easy, because we can lean back and let the guys approach us. Whereas for him, it was always hard work to even get a single date. I always replied that it's not really like that and that being attractive has its own problems. But he then always reminded me of the fact that he had to work really hard to get me to date him. 2, he swears he has only met her one more time, for lunch after the first encounter, and that he thinks it is not yet an affair. However, he thinks he wants to go forward with her because, as he put it, this is the first woman who is genuinely interested in me. I didn't have to text her for 3 months to get a date or anything. I can't let this pass. Or something. Along those lines, my memory is a bit hazy. The 3 months refers to the time it took him to get a date with me, BTW, and that is why he says he is breaking up with me. He says it's the right thing to do, because he wants to continue contact with her, but also feels doing that would be emotional cheating and he doesn't want to cheat on my... So he ends it before actually starting something with her. I feel devastated. I know there's nothing I can do. I want to be mad at him, but I am also mad at myself. I really liked him when we first met. Why did I give him a hard time? If I had said what I wanted back then, if I had pursued him instead of playing hard to get, he probably wouldn't be interested in that woman. But I always felt if a woman does that, she shows she's easy, and I didn't just want to get laid, so I thought I must act that way. And now it is biting me in the butt, sad face, and I of course am very mad at him. But he didn't even cheat on me. He's behaving exactly the way I always say people should act when they fall in love with someone else. I kind of wished he had actually cheated on me with her. That would actually make it easier. ... Thanks for letting me rant. I don't need advice, I know. I'm fucked. Edit, holy fuck, this blew up so much. First, thank you all so much for your comments. This is much appreciated. And also, some of you made me really think. I still feel this was unwarranted, and if he was so unhappy, he should have told me. But I guess I wasn't as good of a wife as I thought. I didn't really show him that I love him and why, and didn't put in much effort. And someone said he was starving for attention, and I guess that's my fault in a way. Ugh. Still, I think just dropping me, like, this isn't right. I managed to get the courage to talk to my BFF, and we'll meet later so I can tell her everything. And she spontaneously will take me out for a spa weekend. I hope I can get my head clear there. I was so scared, but she was not at all condescending. She's the best. I feel like I couldn't have mustered up the courage for that, were it not for all your support. So thank you all so much, even the critical ones. One Lady Navia said, "Do not worry. That woman is drop dead gorgeous and pursued him while she knew he was married, then she is bonkers. And trash, and this will bite both of them in their asses soon enough." This is the case when trash took itself. Out, this comment is a classic mix of validation and schadenfreude. Lady Navia's take is fiercely protective of Obi, painting the other woman as a villain and the husband as a fool. But here's the thing, it's easy to label people trash when we're hurt, but life's rarely that black and white. The real nugget of truth here. A partner who jumps ship at the first ego stroke wasn't anchored in the relationship too. Begin with, still dismissing him as trash might feel good now. But it doesn't help Op unpack why a 4-year marriage crumbled over a lunch date. 2. MPan 2501 said, "That's just bananas. He will always be insecure, and this experience will give him validation for a bit. Then he'll continue looking for it outside of himself." Oof. This one cuts deep because it's probably right. MPAN 2501 nails the cyclical nature of insecurity. This guy's hunger for external validation won't magically disappear with a new partner. But let's not ignore the subtext. Op admits she played hard to get early on, and he's clearly been keeping score 3 months to get a date with you. Both of them tied their worth to being chased, not chosen. That's a shaky foundation. 3. JFMTL87 said, "People don't throw away happy multi-year relationships just because someone hit on them. There must be deeper issues or missing information. It's the voice of reason." JFMTL87 pushes back on the knee-jerk he's trash narrative and forces us to ask what was really going on in this marriage. OP later admits she might have taken him for granted, proof that relationships rarely explode over one incident. It's easier to blame the gorgeous homewrecker than admit you stopped watering your own garden. Still, it's wild to think a man would rather torch his marriage than communicate his needs. 4. PA_Archer said, "Super hot woman just wanted to prove she can steal this average-looking husband. Once he's no longer taken, the thrill will be gone." Spicy take. But let's be real, this isn't fatal attraction. PA_Archer assumes the other woman's motives are purely predatory. But what if she's just into him? The bigger issue is the husband's fragility. If his self-worth hinges on being chosen by a stunner, that's a him problem. Edit hints. She's wrestling with this. Maybe I didn't show him enough love. Ouch. 5. Matromo said, "If in 4 years you've never made him feel desired, it's no wonder he's swayed by someone who does." You say he's the love of your life, but your posts focus on his looks, not your love. The mic drop comment, Mo, calls out Opie's contradictions, calling him the love of her life while nitpicking his appearance. It's uncomfortable but necessary. Relationships aren't just about being good enough. They're about making each other feel wanted. If Op withheld affection to avoid seeming easy, she might have accidentally taught him love was transactional. Brutal, but growth starts here. 6. Denoiter said, "The first time I received unsought attention, I nearly ruined my relationship too. It's an addictive feeling when you've never had it. Analysis, empathy, alert." Denoiter shares a raw confession about male vulnerability, something rare in these comments. His story highlights how loneliness distorts judgment. It doesn't excuse the husband's actions, but it reframes them. This isn't just about lust. It's about a starving man mistaking crumbs for a feast. OP's takeaway. Her husband's exit might say less about her and more about his unmet needs. 7. No_bird_1056 said, "My friend's ex left her for a lesbian who wanted nothing to do with him. He's now jobless and living with his parents. A cautionary tale with a side of karma." No_bird_1056's anecdote is catnip for anyone craving poetic justice, but it's also a reminder. Desperation clouds judgment. The husband's dream woman might be a mirage, but that's his lesson to learn. For OP, this isn't about winning him back, it's about realizing she deserves someone who doesn't need a stranger's validation to stay. The fragile ego that shattered a marriage she thought she knew insecurity. She'd seen it in the way he'd sometimes pause before entering a room full of people, or how he'd deflect compliments about his appearance with a self-deprecating joke. But what she didn't realize, what she couldn't have known, was that his insecurity wasn't just a personality quirk. It was a gaping wound, one that had been festering long before they met, waiting for the right moment to rupture everything. They built together. The irony wasn't lost on her. For years, he'd told her how lucky he was to have her, how he couldn't believe someone like her would choose someone like him. She'd found it endearing at first, then frustrating, then just ... normal. That was just how he was. Except now, looking back, she wondered if she'd missed the warning signs. If all those times he'd said, "Women like you don't go for guys like me," weren't just humble brags, but genuine cries for validation she'd failed to answer. And then she showed up, a stranger. A beautiful, confident stranger who approached him. First, who didn't make him jump through hoops, who didn't need 3 months of texts and dates to decide he was worth her time. Of course, he was intoxicated. For the first time in his life, he felt chosen, not just tolerated. And that, more than the woman herself, was what destroyed their marriage. Was she angry, furious? But not just at him, at herself, too. Because she had played hard to get in the beginning, not because she didn't like him, but because she'd been taught that was what women were supposed to do. That if you gave a man what he wanted too easily, he'd lose respect for you. Now, she wondered, if that very mindset had set the stage for this disaster, if she'd been more open, more affectionate, would he have still been so easily swayed? But here's the thing, this wasn't just about her. His reaction was extreme, unhinged even. A stable, secure partner doesn't throw away a 4-year relationship because a pretty woman gives him attention. A healthy person doesn't measure love in how much someone makes them work for it. And that's where the real tragedy lay. He didn't just leave her for another woman. He left because he never truly believed he deserved love unless it was earned through suffering. In her edit, she admitted she might not have been the best wife. That maybe she hadn't shown him enough love. That was growth. But she also recognized the unfairness. If he was unhappy, why hadn't he said something? Why wait until another woman gave him an exit? The truth was, they'd both failed. She'd withheld affection out of fear. He'd mistaken pursuit for love. And now they were both paying the price. But here's the silver lining. If a marriage could crumble this easily, it was never as strong as she thought. And maybe, just maybe, that was the lesson she needed to learn.